Greetings and welcome to week 4, Justice 125, Intro to Addictions. I'm in a quandary here. This is the third time I've taped this lecture, and the other two times I was talking about how I've kind of changed my style. And I used to do these on Sunday before the week. It was kind of one of those, gee whiz, this week we're going to do this and this and this, and we're going to see this and this. And now I've kind of drifted over, and I'm kind of doing these more now midweek. Gives me a chance to catch up with my grading. I get all the discussions from last week graded. I get the papers from last week graded, so I can comment on those if I want to. If it seems like we're having problems, or if it seems like something really insightful was talked about. Also, this week has started, so I get to see kind of how the discussion's going and maybe say, wow, this was really cool, or kind of steer it this way. So I kind of like this midweek stuff. Unfortunately, Skagway, where I live, tourist town, Wednesday is a big ship day. My little tiny town, it's 4 block wide here, has 4 giant cruise ships docked right downtown. And there's about 10,000 extra cell phones and laptops and iPads going off today, and they suck all the bandwidth out of the air. And it's really tough to get a lecture up and running and not crash before I'm done. So maybe Wednesdays aren't going to work. I know, the other thing about these lectures, I know a lot of the online classes, if you've taken other online classes, I know some of my other justice classes, some of my adjuncts are experimenting with live meetings, with scheduled, let's all get together on Tuesday and we'll all go in to collaborate, and we can all talk to each other, and I can lecture live and you can answer questions and ask questions, and it's more like a classroom session. And I know some of you missed that. I know because I don't do it, I know when we grade classes at the end of the semester, some of the feedback I get is, gee whiz, we wish there was more live give and take. I've always shied away from that. It seems like to me the one of the purposes of online, I see 2 purposes to online. One, you can take class if you don't live in Juneau or Fairbanks or Anchorage. There's 60% of us don't live in, Juneau or Anchorage or Fairbanks. And so it's hard to get to class. And online allows Sandpoint and Kodiak and Craig and Unalaska and Nome to take classes. And I think that's extremely important. The other thing, we get to do it on our schedule. At least for my justice classes, where I have a lot of cops working, we work 24 hours a day. Some of my students work days, some work swings, some work graves. When they're not working, they're getting called out or they're going to court. They work 7 days a week. They might have Monday and Tuesday off. They might have Thursday and Friday off. Seems like nobody ever gets Saturday and Sunday off. So it's really tough to schedule a class. When in the world do I schedule an hour for? My daughter's taking online classes, and she does poorly in the classes that she has scheduled meeting times because it conflicts a lot of times with her work schedule. So I don't like to have live session because I think it makes it more flexible for everybody involved. But you lose a little of the give and take. So I try to make up for that. I'm hoping, in the discussion board and with my comments back to you on your papers when I grade them. And but if that's not enough or you want more, let me know. Talking about this week and Wednesday, interesting. This is always a big deal week. This is a week where everybody knows something. When we talk cocaine and meth and even alcoholism, I'm hoping a lot of you are not terribly familiar with the subject. We hope we don't have a lot of working meth heads in the class. But stimulants are kind of different, at least some stimulants. Certainly we have coffee drinkers in class. Bart was talking about dipping coffee, in fact, when he was in the military in the middle of nowhere. So I know we have some caffeine people in class. If not coffee, then tea, then Dr. Pepper. Um, we're talking about smart drugs, and I want to talk about them mostly about smart drugs on campus. Getting through class. Class is different now. It really is. It really, really is. When I got my 2-year associate degree in law enforcement back in the Jurassic era, I got it straight out of high school. I got it in 2 years. That's really not the norm anymore. In fact, that's total not the norm. There's very, very, very few people that do that. A lot of people take 2, 3, 4 years to get their 2-year degree. They're going part-time, they're juggling school, they're juggling families. Not so much, like I say, back in the Jurassic era. And so stimulants seem to be socially acceptable in a lot of ways to keep us up and running and multitasking, especially on these days where it's only dark 2 hours a day and you really keep going like crazy. So I know there's a lot of you that have some stimulant experience you might be able to talk about. Inhalants, huffing, big, big, big deal here in Alaska. I'm hoping I don't have a lot of, hopefully you only know people that have been involved in huffing, but I bet a lot of you do. Like we read on one of the link we read about the kids in the villages. If you're a junior high, high schooler in a village and you want to get high, you don't have access to a lot of things. You don't have money. You don't have dealers. You got gasoline. It's on every fishing boat. It's in every snowmobile. It's in every ATV. You've got solvents. You've got paints. Um, Very, very, very dangerous, but very, very common and a big problem. And I'm sure a lot of you um, know somebody, if not just that idiot on that YouTube video that was posted with the dust off. I was just sure she was going to crawl out the passenger window at one point, which we'll discuss later if I think that would be a bad thing or not. Anyway, so I think we have lots to talk here. Over in the fix, chapter 4 this week. Um, and again, I want to emphasize with this fix, I offer it because it's an interesting read, it's a good read, it's an easy read, it's an enlightening read. Guy's pretty hard on the medical model, and I don't know that I want you to be. There's clearly some, as we read, last week. There's some serious brain chemistry going on. There's some serious biology going on. There's a lot to be said about physical chemical addiction. But he's offering this week in chapter 4 the difference between wanting and liking and desiring, how that drives us, what we get out of that. Um, Whether or not it's the same, whether or not it lasts, whether or not it drives. Again, my poor daughter, I wish she was here to defend herself, poor youngin, is into tattoos. And I watch her be into these, and I'm not. And so I tend to try to slow her down or tell her it's not the best idea in the world. No offense to those of you that have them. Um, but she'll want one. Oh God, she wants one. And she wants this one. She wants and wants and wants and wants and wants, and she'll finally get it. And there it is. And then, it seems like the next week she wants another one. I mean, what happened to the wants off of that one? So chapter 4 has got some interesting insight into wanting and desiring. He kind of beats up on advertising and consumerism and how that drives wants and likes and desires. So I expect some interesting papers over there. So it's 9:19, 9 minutes and 19 seconds. I haven't crashed yet this time. I'm going to get out of here before I do. And I will see you inside. Good luck this week. Have fun.